The American People versus Judicial Corruption. Commentary. As Americans pay their taxes today, an historic event will begin in New York City. In a moment worthy of On the Waterfront, the great movie about corruption and brutality in New York, the New York system will attempt to judicially destroy the chosen champion of more than 80 million Americans. Make no mistake about what is going to happen. It is an historic day in which corruption and the American constitutional system of freedom through the rule of law will collide. In this struggle, only one side will survive. President Donald Trump will be fighting for the constitutional rights of all 333 million Americans. As Greg Jarrett wrote, this is a pernicious attempt to steal an election through abuse of our legal system. Jarrett asserted President Trump is a victim of unscrupulous political enemies who weaponize the law to destroy him. Remember, in seeking to destroy President Trump, these corrupt judges and prosecutors are establishing a precedent to destroy any American they choose. Jarrett pointed out that the most curious and corrupt aspect of Bragg's case is that he still has not identified what underlying crime Trump supposedly committed. This is a clear violation of the Sixth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which guarantees the right to know what the charges are levied against the accused. Andy McCarthy, a former federal prosecutor, said that we're left with the law of the jungle. A two-tiered system of justice system is no justice at all. McCarthy said this prosecution will threaten the legitimacy of the justice system on the public acceptance of which the rule of law hinges. He warned that this case is as execrable an exercise of prosecutorial discretion as one can fathom. The case being brought against President Trump is pathetically weak. As Kim Strassel of the Wall Street Journal wrote, what we really do have here is a charge that seems to be in search of a crime. Colin Levy asserted it makes the country, as well as the institutions of the U.S. government, just look corrupt and awful. This is something that's legally completely dubious and ethically completely horrendous. Serious lawyers have expressed contempt for the case against President Trump. Jeffrey Lichtman said this case is a joke. Randy Zeeland of Cornell Law School wrote this is a weak case. Jed Handelsman Schugerman from Fordham and Boston Universities said the Trump indictment is a legal embarrassment. Schugerman noted the 34-count indictment was a disaster. It was a setback for the rule of law and established a dangerous precedent for prosecutors. Instead of the rule of law, it would be the rule of the circus. The constant effort to persecute President Trump using the power of the law and corrupting the process into a political war has educated and then infuriated many millions of Americans. The left's vicious hostility is so public, the American people have increasingly felt called upon to defend President Trump. The unfairness and corruption of the left system has led to a countervailing popular movement which gains strength with every attack on President Trump. Every act of contempt toward his values and supporters and every example of the left's failure to deliver on anything strengthens this opposition movement. The elites in Washington and New York cannot understand the millions of people in the rest of the country who put up Trump signs, man Trump campaign offices, and paint "Make America Great Again" on their cars and trucks. If the choice is MAGA or a corrupt machine of left-wing arrogance and incompetence, the country has been moving steadily away from the failing extremists of the left. The pattern has made the left even more frenzied and willing to twist and distort the law. Its members are even more ready to pretend legal absurdity is normal and prosecutorial ruthlessness is reasonable. In an historic parallel which the left will find absurd, but historians will understand immediately, President Trump personifies America fully as much as Robert the Bruce personified Scotland or Charles de Gaulle personified France. This intense bond between champion and movement decisively carried President Trump to the Republican nomination. This bond will strengthen his cause going into the fall campaign. It is in part powered by resentment at the legal corruption which seeks to deprive him of his rights and those of many millions of Americans who want him to be president again. The only other president to lose office and then win it back after 4 years is Grover Cleveland. In a stunning parallel, Cleveland rose to national fame as a reformer taking on the corrupt Democratic machine in New York City. His supporters said of him, "We love him for the enemies he made." At least 80 million Americans love President Trump for the enemies he has made. The New York case is going to be a fascinating spectacle over the next few weeks.
Kingdom Mindset Response. Continue to pray for justice in the sight of corruption. This is a spiritual battle that you are observing, but Christ always wins. Pray for the divine will of God to intervene. We the people must walk in discernment and authority and not put our trust in governmental entities who have gone rogue.